Welcome back, guys, to episode 7 of A Glimpse into Infinity. Today's topic is going to be about gender roles and if gender roles are necessary in a relationship, right? And today's guests are...
I'm Taylor. I'm a biomedical engineering student.
Hello, I'm Gus, and I'm a civil engineering student.
All right, sweet. So starting off the questions, we want to start right off the bat. If you guys want to give kind of like, what are your ideas on gender roles today? Like, how your preconceptions of gender roles? Like, can you talk me through like what you believed in as a kid and what you believe in now?
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, as a kid, I feel like my mom definitely instilled in me that I don't need a man to do anything in life and that I should be an independent woman. So basically just being able to fend for myself and for my family. That's what I believe in. But, you know, as I've gotten older and I've been going through separate relationships, I realized that there are certain things that I prefer not to do as a woman that I'd rather, like, throw to my man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, you can pay for dinner.
And what about you guys?
I think growing up, I had the privilege of having a great father figure and a great mother figure as well. I come from a Mexican background, so a lot of things stem from machismo, which is a different topic. But I'm glad that my parents aren't like that. My dad especially, he's not like that at all. And yeah, he's a great example for me. So I think I know how to treat women right and, you know, stem from that.
Yeah. I heard some crazy stories from Mexicans specifically. It's like sometimes the really traditional ones, the women don't eat until the men eat. So they'll serve food, and then the men eat, and the women just stand to the side, and then they eat after they're done. And when I first read that, I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, definitely are some things that are like different than what we're used to, especially like on our parents' side. Because I know for me, my parents do something that I was like, I don't know about that. But jumping off from that question, I want to ask you guys, do you view yourself as a typical man/woman in today's society?
Okay, typical in today's society, or like what general men and women are?
Yeah, like in today's society. Like,
Yeah, I feel like women today are supposed to be empowered by themselves and, you know, not by their man. Going back to your point about eating, that's how my grandma was. She served my grandfather, and then he eats, then everyone else can eat.
Yeah.
My mom, not like that at all. Now I'm like, she serves everyone, but I'm like, I don't eat until my mom eats. You know, respectful of her. She cooked it, and I thank her for that.
I think my generation from, you know, previous generations of my Mexican family, we've kind of like stemmed away from that in a sense. My mom used to serve my dad and she wouldn't eat until after we all ate at the dinner table. But now we're like, hey, like, you got to come and sit with us and we all eat together because we are not doing this. Like, we want to eat together as a family. So, yeah, I think that's where I'm stemming from. Those are my ideas now. So I guess we're shying away from the traditional Mexican background. So.
Yeah, that's my situation too. Like, my mom would cook, and like she'll serve all of us, and then we'll just eat, and then she'll eat after we're done. And he's like, after I grow up, I was like, hey, yo, that's wrong, you know, to be doing that. But for her, it's fine, and she doesn't really see it as like, oh, it's like because like the men or whatever. Because I have a little sister and all that. Well, I guess it's because she's like the mother, and like she cooked, and she wants us to eat first, and then she comes after. You know, it's like the mother, I guess, instinct.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you, for your kids first, and then it's you.
I feel like my mom still does that.
Yeah.
Low-key, I just clicked. I'm like, hold on, he does that.
Yeah.
But it's not so much that she doesn't eat until we all eat. It's mostly so like they just like before like growing up, we used to all eat like as a family. But like now with TV and everything, it's just like they just sit on the couch and eat, and then I'm just like, okay, I'll just eat over here. You get me?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, we do it on Sundays.
Yeah.
Like on Sundays, we're like, no, this is the day we must like eat together as a family at least. You know, because most of the time my dad is working. So it's like we can't eat as a family, but Sundays is like reserved for that. He's like, no matter what happens, we gotta eat, or no matter what we eat, we gotta be there. Every other day is like whatever, you can do your own thing, I guess.
And do you guys help set up the table, or is it kind of just like you go and the food's just served?
It kind of depends on what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
Like if I'm busy, like my parents know I have a lot of schoolwork. I work all week, so it honestly depends. Like for example, yesterday I did help my mom cook when I got home from work. I was tired, but you know I still did it.
Yeah.
And we all ate, we set up the table, all of us eat together, and yeah.
It's not like that in my house. So it's me, my mom, and my stepdad. My mom or Lou will cook, and then we all eat together. But I'm always the one to set the table. And then once we're done, my mom always washes the dishes, and I always dry them and put them away. It's like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like what Gus said. it's like we're kind of a mix of both of you. It's like we just she calls. She's like food is ready. So when we all pull up, each one of us grabs a plate, and I guess like sometimes she serves. Like we hand her the plate, and she serves it. We sit back down. Or sometimes she puts like the food on the table, and then we serve ourselves. So I guess it kind of is like half she does it, half the rest of us do it.
Yeah, same thing for me. Like for me, it's just like sometimes it's like, yeah, food's ready. It's like, but it's not eat. Other times it's like, oh, food's there, just serve yourself. It's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I feel like something currently in my household that's different from like my traditional Puerto Rican background is that my stepdad does cook. And like normally it's like, you know, my grandfather, he worked 2 jobs. His only job was like to put food on the table and put a roof over their heads.
Yeah.
But like now actually like seeing a man like partake in like this job that's traditionally a woman's job of cooking.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like a good move in the right direction.
Yeah.
Definitely.
My mom hates when my dad cooks. It's like my dad cooks and like he just cooks everything. So like he cooks like normal food, like let's say rice, chicken, and beans, whatever. And then he's like, "You want tostones? You want this? You want that?" And then he just started making this all other extra things, little things. And my mom comes and the whole pantry is half gone. He's just like, "Hey, yo, what the hell am I gonna cook for the rest of the week?" And she hates it.
My mom, same thing, but not because he takes up all the food. It's because my dad's just not a good cook. So like he not only does he take up all the ingredients, he just makes it and it doesn't taste good.
And burns them.
Yeah, it's like burnt. It's like I tried this new recipe on YouTube. It's like, oh no.
Oh Lord.
Does your dad
YouTube.
cook?
My dad does cook, but it's bad.
My dad doesn't cook at all. The most cooking that my dad does is like eggs. So
Some cereal.
yeah, if he's lucky.
And one question I want to ask you guys is kind of like, how did you, like, who taught you like the gender roles you were growing up with, like whether it comes from like relationships, like holding the door, walking like by the sidewalk, or it comes to like family stuff, like always helping clean, like not helping clean, letting like for me, it's like my sister would clean and like my mom would just tell me to sit down. Like she would never ask me for help until like recently. So I want to add, like for me, it was kind of like just seeing like my dad just not help. So I just figured it was okay like to not help. Obviously it's different now, but I want to ask you guys what you think, like who, like is it the same thing for you guys? Is it just like your parents taught you the gender roles you were grown up with, or is it like other sources, like other people? Is it media or stuff like that?
I think it was my parents. The thing about the sidewalk, my dad was very big on that. So now, like, I kind of judge a guy if I go out on a date with someone and, like, he makes me walk on the outside sidewalk. I'm like, oh, my dad's not going to like him. But different things, like, very traditional gender roles. My nanny, she, like, does everything for my grandfather. She, like, cuts his fruit. She, like, irons his clothes. And I've totally want to be the opposite of what she is. You know, she had a job, but she was also a homemaker. But in a relationship, I want to be a partner with someone.
Exactly. But I feel like society has a big impact on it too.
Yeah.
Right? Because my current girl, she in DR, and like I noticed like the huge differences like of gender roles, right? Like we're just talking, and then I'm like, oh, I was helping my mom clean, or like, oh, I'm cooking or whatever, doing the dishes. And she's like, don't worry, like when we're together, I'm not gonna let you like clean or cook. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like, what you mean you're not gonna let me? He's like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because we have to clean and cook. What you mean? And things like that. And then she's also like, she basically does everything on her house, right? So, and like she has like an older brother and a dad, and they don't do anything. She does everything. And like society is like, that's what you're supposed to do, you know? The men are not supposed to clean and cook because that's not what men do.
Well, you guys?
I think most of my chivalry, right, to put a term on it, stems from my mom, which is ironic. You know, you'd think like your dad would teach you like how to treat a woman or things like that, like open the door for her and stuff like that. But I think most of it does stem from my mom. I'm very close with her, so she kind of like, you know, just sat me down one day and taught me everything. Like, hey, listen, this is what you got to do. You always got to treat her right. Blah blah blah, like stuff like that. So. And that's very different because their generation was awful. Yeah. Like the way we see it now, it was awful for them. It may not be awful. Yeah. But, you know, someone as a younger generation seeing that, it's kind of, you know, it's like red flags, I guess, in a way. So, yeah, it's very different now.
Yeah. I relate to that too. He's like, my dad, he's been working since he was like 9. So he always, all he knows is his work. So like I never really had like that close connection with my dad. So he's always been with my mom. I'm super close with my mom, and she's basically the one that taught me everything about like women and how I'm supposed to treat them and all that. So I relate to Gus.
That's crazy. And just jumping from that, like besides talking about like preconceptions growing up, I want to bounce off of that and talk about relationships today. I was talking to one of my good friends out, and he was telling me how he wants his girl to cook for him, but she doesn't know how to cook. But he doesn't want to learn how to cook. He's like, listen, I'll help you clean and do the chores around the house as long as you cook. Right? I want that.
Girl.
I want that Mexican. I want that Mexican cuisine, but she's not cooking.
Wait, hold up.
Yeah.
How he's gonna get Mexican cuisine when she's not even Mexican?
He was asking her if she could learn, right?
Mexican cuisine.
Yeah, like just some Mexican dishes that his mom like cooks in the house. Like she can teach her, right? That was his whole idea.
That's not happening.
And then she was like, "Hell no, I'm not cooking that."
That's not
She's like, "If you want to
yet.
cook, you make it yourself." And I was like, "Come on, man, I just want some
Some
food."
food for the rest of his life.
Plátanos all day. Nah, but here's the thing about that though, right? So like us as upcoming professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it mainly relates to the guys, right?
Okay.
We want or we'll prefer a girl that's also a professional just like us, right? Meaning she also has a job.
I agree.
Well, if she works 9 to 5 like you, she's not gonna come home and cook
Yeah.
because cooking is not gonna get done, right? But then you want someone that works. You want two incomes coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also want someone to cook for you, right? Let's say, or to clean the house. And then when kids come, you also want someone to raise your kids. Because if she's working, neither of you is gonna raise your kids.
Yeah.
You're gonna drop the kids off somewhere, and someone else is gonna raise your kids. So it's like you want someone to like be full time or like have a profession,
Mm-hmm.
but then you also want them to like raise your kids. And like that dilemma comes, and it's like you can't have both.
Mm-hmm. So which one would you prefer?
Which one would I prefer?
You're like, would you rather have someone who works a 9 to 5 professional? Or would you rather have someone that's more like part time and could like in the future, right, spend time with the kids or something like that, rather than have someone that's always working, just like you?
No,
Just
I
like you
wouldn't
don't have
want
time for
always
kids.
working, but then I
Yeah.
also wouldn't want like a housemaid. You know,
Yeah.
I want her to do her own things. I want her to like achieve her own goals and stuff.
I think my ideas kind of stem from Juan too. Like as a upcoming professional, I think we do want someone who's on our level that we can grow with and our ambitions can grow together, rather than have someone. I'm not gonna say it in a bad way, but lower than I am, and then I won't ever grow. I won't ever progress or feel motivated to grow. You know, so I think we definitely want someone that's on our equal or even higher, so that we can grow together and our ambitions can also grow. So I think of it that way.
And
What you think, Taylor?
yeah, Taylor.
When it comes to the housework, I feel like how things work on my end is that like I can split it. Like you handle the cleaning and I'll handle the cooking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then when kids come around, nowadays it's easier because not only do you get maternity leave, but they get really nice paternity leave packages.
Oh yeah.
So that's something that I
Like
look
6
forward
months.
to. Yeah, right. So it's like a step up for men. They'd get like not even a day before.
Yeah.
So like that's a nice
crazy.
difference. But as the kids get older, I mean, I would love to be able to be around the house more, and I hope that I find a partner who feels the same. So we're not both working crazy hours into the night. We actually get to build relationships and teach our children.
With the kids, yeah.
Exactly.
Because you come home and then like you don't even know your kids because they grew up. You don't even know how they grew up because you spend 1/3 of your day sleeping, the other third at work,
Yeah.
and then the other third coming home and preparing for the next day.
I feel like that's the point of being a professional, so that you can work hard when you're young, so that you're able to have that flexibility and that freedom when
Exactly.
you're older and you have a family.
I think it makes sense, but no one really ever teaches you that.
People get trapped.
Yeah,
Because
that's
For sure.
Once you get that paycheck, you start buying nice things.
yeah.
You start getting those debts, those bills, and once you go high, it's hard to come back
Yeah,
low. Once you're used to
exactly.
like living nice, it's hard to come back low to be able to have that freedom that you said.
Besides talking about who cooks, let's talk about who should earn the most money. Because I know for some guys, like, they would feel uncomfortable if the woman earns more money than they do. I don't know. That's probably because of the way we've grown up. It's kind of like we're not there. We're starting to transition from the point that that's starting to become acceptable. But for some people, it's just not. Like, for you guys, do you guys think that it would be weird if your girls had like made more money than you, or do you think that's fine?
That's really fine.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Generally, don't care.
Why do you think some people care that the woman makes more than they
It's a
do?
machismo
It's a
thing.
machismo
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, we want to feel like we're the providers of the house. We're the
Yeah.
breadwinners. But no, I mean now like living off one income, like you're not gonna make it. Let's be honest. You're gonna be living paycheck to paycheck. That's so bad. I'd rather have someone that makes the same amount of money as me, or at least works or makes more, I don't care as long as we have 2 incomes coming in.
Yeah.
Good answer.
But also, something I noticed too a lot, I guess from social medias and things that go viral, is that it's easier for like guys to leash off like successful women than the other way around, to be honest. Right? Because you have a successful guy, right? And with men, there's a lot of work behind, like, I guess, getting there. And women, they are more independent when it comes, like, successful women kind of like earn it themselves more than like successful men. And like, you know that saying, it's like behind every successful man there is like a strong woman. You know, so like men have that strong woman there. So it's like, how can I say this? Women, like, even if the man is the whole provider, women still provide more value to a man, not by incomes, right? But then there's a lot of guys that just leech off women, like successful women, and then the woman come and buys them car, feeds them off, and then they end up like cheating or doing whatever. And I've seen like a lot of videos of that going viral, and I feel like it's because like girls are more emotional and more sentimental, so they see this as like okay and all that. Guys, like if they're getting like leeched off from a woman, that they think more logically and they're like, okay, you want something, so you gotta give me something back. But women are more like, oh no, I love him, so I'm gonna provide him with everything.
Like it'll start small, but then it scales to like something crazy, like a car or something.
I think there's like a bunch of guys like are just being like maintained and babied by women.
That's crazy.
Like,
Yeah, that's something I don't want in a partner.
Right.
Definitely like.
But you've seen it, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure. It's like a big thing nowadays.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And that makes me even like stronger in my will that I don't want to say it like this, but I don't want to be with a bum.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, you know, I like the nicer things in life, and you know, I want to be able to take those trips, like go for a nice night out in the city, and you know, I want someone who's not just relying on my income to do that, but it's something that, you know, we're both working towards our goals. Like Gus was saying, we're both growing together, you know, and we can do this as a team.
Yeah. I read it was like, I forgot who said it, but it's like if you're in a relationship, you should also have like 4 bank accounts. One of them is like for the common stuff, for like the house stuff. So everything, all the food, everything that's for the house gets split half. Then another one should be a savings where both of you put money in. And if one of you needs to take money out, then it needs the other person's signature. You know, that's the money you put for like your future and whatever and things you want to get done. And then the other 2 bank accounts are separate bank accounts. Whereas you have your own and I have my own, right? So if you want something for yourself, then you should be able to have your own money there saved up.
Right.
And not be asking me because it's something completely for yourself. Because that's something that happens too. It's like you want something complete for yourself and then you expect your partner to like offer it up. And it's like...
That's the thing. And like, for the other way around, when you want to buy something for your partner, like I love to spoil my man. Like, for much that like, you know, I'd like to get something for myself. Like I'm a really big gift giver.
I don't spend money on me.
So like I don't want him to know, so I'm not going to be taking it from my joint account. Like I'm going to be taking it from my account, and like it's not going to affect him or our household.
It's like the way I see it. Like before, because my mom was like a house mom, so she always was at home. So if she wanted to get my dad something, she would need to ask like my dad for money to get him something. Yeah. So it's like, how does that work, you know?
Yeah. So jumping off that, we talked about cooking, we talked about cleaning, we talked about who should earn the most money. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts, right, in today's world, because we're all talking about gender roles in relationships. What are some things that you find acceptable in a relationship, and what are some things you find completely unacceptable that some people might find acceptable in a relationship?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, so something that you could just start off with is like kind of like how usually you see like kind of like guys being more controlling in a relationship than girls. Obviously it could be going one of both ways, right? Sometimes it's girls controlling it, sometimes it's guys controlling it, right? Something unacceptable in my case would be being kind of like told what to do and what not to do, right, without your opinion. Like that's just something that some people find comfortable, and they're comfortable with someone telling them what they should do, but for me that's a big no. Like, just starting off with that.
I agree with you. Like, I think it's a big red flag if you're not letting your girlfriend or boyfriend go out and hang out with his friends. Like, he has his own life outside of you.
Exactly.
And I think that separation within the relationship is really important because, you know, you're not just one person. You have your own lives. You know, you got together because you complement each other.
Exactly.
So just being able to have that sort of freedom. I think something else that's really big is, like, getting on with my family because my family is my life. So in the end, I mean, I want to find someone who, like, gets along with them. We're going to be spending major holidays with both of our families. So just being able to incorporate them into that life, I think is really important.
Yeah, I agree with Taylor kind of. I know there's like ideas where like, oh, you're supposed to love your significant other more than your family at a certain point. But you know, they've been my family before I met you, so they're going to continue to be my family even when we're together. So if you can't have some respect towards my family, or you can't get along with them, then that's a huge red flag, as Taylor said. You know, my family is the most important thing to me. So we got to learn how to get along.
Something I've seen is my own cousin. He got along with got a new girlfriend, and then he completely got into arguments with his dad. He moved out. He already moved in with her. He's like, kind of like, they're like at a huge conflict right now, and he sees that as totally fine, and obviously I see that as a problem because like Gus said, you know, this is your own dad.
Like becoming enemies in your family.
How are you gonna disrespect your own dad for some new girl you just met? You know, it's kind of like irrational, but to each their own. Because
the thing is that like if that happens to fail, who you gonna go to? Where you gonna go back to? You need a place to go back to, you know. Just in life, if something comes along the way and it hits you. Right. That's what my mom says. She's like, the only reason why I want a house with like 3 rooms, is just to have a room ready if one of my sons or daughters gets kicked out of the house and they know they have somewhere to go. And I'm like, that.
And that's unconditional love too.
Yeah.
Like, when you first meet someone, it's not unconditional love, let's be honest. Your family's always going to have that love for you. So it's, you know, it's 2 different things, 2 different types of love.
Boyfriends and girlfriends come and go. Families forever.
Exactly. Some people just don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, there is some boundaries though. Like, for example, I was planning to go to like visit my girl, right? Because it's been a while. It's been like a couple months, and it was just gonna be for a week, like a week and something, like 10 days, and we're planning things to do. She's like studying, so like basically, like half her day is gone for studying, right? And we were just making plans. It was like, "Bet, let's go to the beach. Let's rent a place or whatever." And then she was like, and then I said, yeah, just like, and I mentioned it was just, oh yeah, we gonna have a good time, like me and you. She was like, wait, what? I thought I was gonna bring my brother and his girl along.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, what you mean? And I was like, I said it was, the first time she told me, I said it was fine.
Yeah.
She was like, we can rent a place, just the 4 of us, and like we can just chill. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can get to know them or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she brought a note for the plans for the beach, for the plans for this something else, for the plans for this something else.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, what you trying to do? I'm trying to spend time with you. He's like, what you trying to do? It was probably just that brother wants to leash off. He was like, bet, I'm tagging along. Got him.
I heard he has a lot of money.
Oh, yo. he coming from US. Bet.
No, I definitely agree with Juan. Like, there's times for family, there's times to just spend with your significant other, and then there's times where you guys can come together.
Yeah.
And you gotta know when those times come. You know? Because time with your significant other is also very important.
I told her.
So
that's what I said.
That was a topic for me in my last major relationship. I'd fly down to South Carolina to go see him, and then he'd be like, it'd be just for like a 3-day trip. He's like, oh, like my brother and his wife are gonna come up too. I was like, all right, how about next time? Like, and then sometimes I'd go. One time I went for like 2 weeks at a time because we were out of school, we were virtual, and so I was like, yeah, like they came for a weekend and it was great, but like we still had our couple time.
Right. And you need them. It's like, it's a must, you know. Exactly. It's like, why even be a couple? Might as well just be friends.
Exactly.
Especially when you're long distance. I'm sure you can relate.
Right. And I was like, okay. I was like, but maximum 1 thing. That's it. Because we already had a dinner planned with them. So I was gonna get there, and then the next day, as soon as I got there, the same day at night, we were gonna have a dinner with her family. And I was like, bet, I think that should be it.
Yeah.
And then she started bringing them along for these other plans.
I think it's good to be selfish in a relationship sometimes, though.
Yeah,
definitely. It's important to communicate too.
Yeah. I told her too. I was like, bet, I also need a day to go visit my family because I have family over there too, and I can't just go and not visit them. I'll be right next to them, but just 1 day. That's it. The rest is like supposed to be with you.
Like, nah, me and my family.
Not you and your brother. It's also found out weird. It's like we were gonna be with her brother and her sister and like renting a place out, and just the 4 of us. I find that weird
because you don't know them, right?
Kind of like being
awkward.
chaperoned. They're watching you.
Yeah, and that's family, you know. And like, you know, things are gonna go down, and like just knowing that her brother's right there, it's like might as well just chill at your house.
Exactly.
No, might as well just chill at your house.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, is there anything you find unacceptable, Juan, besides what we said so far?
Unacceptable?
Yeah. Like, for you in a relationship?
Like for gender roles?
Yeah. Like things that guys do or that girls do that you don't find okay with. That just happened today.
Like, the thing is, it's hard. Like, there's not really, like, that many things which are, like crazy. Unless, like, the person is, like, really on the extremes. Like I said, like, the men eat first, then it's women. But you don't really see that a lot. Like, I guess here in America, like, pretty much everyone knows, like, basically, like, the general basics for it. You know? Like, what would you guys say? If you go on a first date with someone,
Yeah.
it's like, how should the bill be split?
Oh, I don't assume that like the guy's gonna pay on a first date.
Yeah.
You know, like my first date with my longest relationship, I paid. Like, just I don't feel like it should be expected of the guy. You know, we're in the same place financially,
Yeah.
so like he was kind of mad at me at the end. He's like, "What do you mean you paid?" I was like, "Well, yeah, because like I don't want you to think that this is how it's always gonna be."
Yeah.
So like, you know, just being able to like do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if the power dynamic's different though, like he's working and like I'm just doing school. And like he's comfortable with like paying for the dates, and you know I'm grateful to him.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't feel like I owe him anything after that
Exactly,
either.
yeah.
I think that's important to like just because like I'm putting down the bill, that means like you got to give me something in return.
No. It's just.
But I don't split it. Like if he wants to split it, then I'm like, you know, I just take the L. I'll pay the bill.
It's like, can we split this 2 for 20?
No, 2 for 22.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But now I'm saying because like, well at least like, I like to pay for it. You know, I just like to pay. It's great if she pays for it, then it's better for me. You know, free meal. It's like, nah.
I just don't want it to be an expectation.
Yeah, but then so some girls, they just don't even offer or mention it at all. Like they automatically assume, oh, he's paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's a little bit more traditional, you know.
Yeah, just
But it's like you don't really know when that's gonna happen. So that's why guys, I guess we always assume that we have to pay for it,
that's true.
because we don't know when a girl is like you, or when a girl is like some other girl where they just don't do anything and just wait for you to pay.
They just expect it.
Yeah, they just expect it.
I think
So-
if it's on the first date, though, I think the guy has to pay. I don't know. That's just the way I think.
Yeah.
If it's the first date,
What if it's a trash
What
date?
if it's the girl who asked the guy out?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Who asked who?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a first date, why would the girl ask the guy out?
Because I have
I mean,
asked guys out on first
I know,
dates.
I know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I've never really experienced that, but I think the guy should pay for the first date at least, and then moving forward, then you guys can split bills or pay for one another, whatever you want.
What if it's a really trash date? You still pay?
A trash date?
Yeah, like
I'll
trash.
pay
like-
and never see them again.
Got him.
At that point, split it. We get half.
I mean, I'm a very big I'm naturally a caregiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like doing things because se me nace del corazón, you know? So, yeah, I don't really mind doing that.
Yeah. Sometimes it also works like the way I find that works perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like, let's say we go out to the movies, I pay for the movie ticket, and like she offers up to pay for the groceries.
Yeah.
Or for the not the groceries.
Popcorn.
Groceries.
That's a
Golly.
lot thing.
But yeah, I find it perfect. It's perfect that way. It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, when it comes to gender roles, right? What would a relationship look like without gender roles? Like, what do you? I know it's like a out there question, but let's say the guy didn't pay, or let's say the girl's on the side of the crosswalk, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, how would that look like? And what do you think? Would you think that would work? Like, if there are no gender roles, would a relationship still work today?
I think there's a balance of what the guy should do in a relationship and what the girl should be doing in a relationship. So I think without that balance, it's not going to work out. Like, there's certain things that the guy just has to do, or there's certain things that the girl just has to do in order for the relationship to work. We can't just be doing our own stuff and expecting the relationship to just run smoothly.
Like what though? Like some examples.
Some examples. Damn.
Taking out the trash. I'm not doing that.
Like stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
biologically, let's be honest, men are stronger than women. Biologically. So anything that has to do with physical labor, the guy should be expected to do it. I'm not saying the woman can't offer or can't, do it. But as a man, if they offer, we kind of have to be like, no, like, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
We can't let them do that. They can do something else,
Like shoveling. Like, we do that in the winter.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
We go out in the snow. We shovel. I'll shovel the driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. I'm not gonna let you go out and shovel the driveway.
Yeah.
There
It's
are
like-
things that like I do on my own. Like I'll move furniture, I'll rearrange a house, I'll shovel if I have to. But like if I have a man, I'm like, can you do it for me, please? Like just like because I know it's better for me, honestly, to feel like I have the option of him doing the manual labor for me, even though like I can do it. Like
Yeah.
I'd prefer that he do it. And like talking back about cooking, like I know you can cook, but like I'm gonna cook.
Yeah, I see all the memes. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, all these females say they're strong and independent, and so they need their driveway to be shoveled. That's when they hit you up.
Exactly. No, I mean, it's just a balance of things. Like
Yeah.
the guy has to do some stuff, the girl has to do some stuff, and boom, you guys just work out.
Mhm.
You know.
How about, I guess, with like more to like the emotional stuff? Do you see it as a balance, or do you see it like more leaning towards the girl? Because some girls are always like, oh, like I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, green flag this, green flag that. But sometimes like they don't give it themselves. They don't give themselves those green flags. So it's like they expect it from the partner, but they
It's like
themselves are not.
one-sided.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
So
like, oh, I want a man that this, and that.
Right. I think when it comes to that, it's just sitting down and talking about it. Like, what do you expect from me, or like, what didn't you like that I did, or something like that. Just sit down, have a talk. That way, you know, damn, like this is really gonna bother her, so why do it?
Yeah.
You know.
That's something I noticed after like multiple relationships. It's like something that you think is normal is like
Different. It's not
different for the
normal.
other person.
Exactly.
Yeah, and something that might bother you is like totally normal for them,
Mm.
and they don't see it as a bother, and it's like, why is it bothering you? It's like that's normal.
Yeah.
That's something like you said you gotta
Like
talk
walking in
about
with your
it.
shoes.
I feel like emotional intelligence is just like a really big deal now. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm in a relationship with a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm at a point in my life where if I'm in something, it's going to be serious. And,
Yeah.
you know, I want to feel that you're mature and you're ready to like work through these issues with me. It's like,
Exactly.
you know, I feel like a relationship, it's not you and your partner against each other. It's you and your partner together against the problem.
That's true.
And it's something like important as well. Like my parents, I know for a certain amount of time, they wanted me to go back to Mexico and get a woman from there.
Yeah.
And I also had to cook, clean, and just stay at
And
home.
do all this stuff.
Exactly. But me growing up, I told her, listen, I don't want that. You know, I want an equal. I want someone with ambitions, goals, everything that does similar things that I do that I want. So why would I go and do that? Like I feel like I'd be talking to
Like a wall.
like a wall, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I see that sometimes with my parents. You know, like my mom will be talking for hours to my dad, and my dad's like, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
great. Okay.
It's like they just in it for their responsibility.
exactly,
Just the responsibility of being together.
Yeah, I want someone I can talk with, you know, sit down and just talk or do similar things that we like. Just, you know, do that.
Yeah.
Or even just talk about my work. Like what I enjoy about, you know, getting to know different people at my school is that, you know, they're on the same mind level as me. It's like
Yeah.
as an engineer, I can talk to another engineer. I can explain to
Right.
you my lab. You're not
Yeah.
going to be totally lost.
Right.
You know, you're kind of like going to get, even though like you have
Yeah.
different disciplines, you're going to get like the effort that I put into it, and you're going to see like
Mhm.
how important it is to me when I light up and I talk about it,
Yeah,
and then you're going to
exactly.
support me in that.
That's something that's also interesting. Like when it comes to relationships, like if you don't have someone that's like excited to talk about like what they're doing, it's like like if like you need someone, or at least in my case, I need someone with ambition or some drive. You know, if you're not, if I ask like what you're doing, like what your plans are after college, and you just say working or like the traditional stuff, it's kind of like, oh, like what else do you do? Like what's important, like for me, it's like not what you do at work, but what you do after work, right? Try to get that self income going, try to get that business going, start something, right? And for me, it's like if like what Gus was saying earlier with the wall, if you just don't have ambitions, like I can't talk about my ambition because it's like one side. It's like I'm talking to a wall. You get me? But yeah,
And then I feel like you kind of feel bad if you're on a totally different level. You kind of want to censor yourself. Like, is my how do you say? Is my success too much for you? Is it putting you down that I'm achieving these great things?
Yeah.
And you kind of don't want to be put in a situation where your partner is going to dim your light.
that's also a big thing. Like you gotta have someone that also wants the same thing you have, right?
Yeah.
If you just two different paths, it's just not gonna work out
Not
from the
gonna
beginning.
work out.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna start walking different ways.
Exactly. That's just
Yeah.
life. And just like something I also want to touch up upon is we talked about gender roles. We talked about pretty much everything as far as I think so far. And something I want to add on to that is because some kids are just growing up. Some people are just not taught gender roles at all. Like some guys are not taught to shovel. They're letting their mom shovel while they're just inside playing video games. Like I would find that like not acceptable. But do you think in the future it would be kind of like, should we implement, kind of like, should we teach kids, like, kind of like what they should and should not do, like, as a guy or as a girl? Or do you think it should just kind of be, like, figured out throughout life?
Yeah, pretty much like in the future, it's like, are you gonna tell your kids, oh, first date, that means you gotta pay, or be ready to pay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and teach them that way. That it's like, oh, that's just how it is. It's like the men should do that.
I don't believe in equality. I think I believe in equity.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we're not both doing the same task,
Mhm.
but, they cancel each other out. Like, they're worth the same.
Mm.
So, I really do enjoy, like, some of the more traditional woman roles that I do.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I feel like I'll do them right. Like, a man can't do it, like, as well as I'm going to do. And there are things that, I think it's a better job that a man does it. So I believe in, having an equitable relationship.
Yeah, I think I do want to have kids when I, obviously get older
Yeah.
and get more into my career. But I think I definitely will sit them down, talk with them, like lay everything out for them. I'm like, yo, you're a man or you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain expectations from you, whether you like those expectations or not. That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a father and as someone who's been through that, I have the responsibility of telling you all these things. Whether you like them or not, these things have to be told to you.
Yeah.
So what are they? What is, like, that definitive line?
For example, like opening the door for a woman. Like, I know there's been women that say, "Oh, why are you holding the door if I could open it myself?" Like, okay, I'm a man. I want to open the door for you.
Yeah.
It's not for
It's
you.
nice.
It's for my own like self.
Exactly.
I want to feel good about myself too. I want to open the door for you. It's a gesture.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone that would turn down a gesture. Like, that makes no sense to me. So there's just certain things that I would tell my son, like, listen, open the car door for your woman, or like walk on the sidewalk, as we mentioned too, walk on the side closest to the street. Those are just things that we have to do.
Yeah.
And for a woman too, I think women should know how to cook. I'm not saying it's required, but I know men should also know how to cook. You get what I'm saying with this?
Yeah.
But there's just certain things that expectations that women and men should have, in order to be balanced too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also see like contradictions, I guess, from the women to the men's side. I guess since I'm a man, I'm biased. But some of the contradictions is like, women want a man like that's confident, that's like what other words can you say? That's confident, that's like strong.
Like an alpha male.
Not alpha. Well, kind of, but not to that point. Someone that's confident, someone that's not indecisive, that can't take action. Someone that's confident, right? But then that contradicts with when men show feelings.
right.
Women also say that it's like, oh, a man should be able to show feelings. But then if a man cries, that gets seen as weakness. Even though they say it's not, but they see it as a weakness.
Yeah.
But they also want a man that's confident and that's all this. But then there's a woman that shows emotion, and it's like the two things don't go with each other.
Yeah, kind of contradicts each other.
What you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I'm always trying to pull out of guys in a relationship, because society does say to be a strong man, that means you can't show how you're really feeling.
Vulnerable.
Exactly. Vulnerability, it's a huge thing. And to be intimate, I feel that you need to be completely vulnerable with your partner. So like, I want to know, like, when you're going through those tough times, I want to be that person that you feel comfortable enough to cry on my shoulder. And like, in the best times, you guys know I'm a really big happy crier. So like, I want to be able to see you like so excited on our wedding day. If I'm walking down the aisle and you're crying, I'm not going to turn around. I'm going to be even more excited. I'm like, skip down the aisle, I just want to know that you're giving me your all.
But that's when you're a couple already, and like when you're together. But then when you like your first impression, when you go for the guy that shows that he's confident and looks confident and all that, or you go for like, I guess, the wimp that like is indecisive and that you can tell like he's not confident, he doesn't have any of this.
I think that I'm attracted to a confident person with emotional intelligence, and that means being able to be vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I don't want someone who's not sure of what he wants to do with his life. I want someone with a plan. I want someone with a head on his shoulders. But I feel that a really big part of that is being able to show your emotions.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying, I think I've shied away from the machismo part of my culture. I'm very like vulnerable too, and I have no problem expressing what I'm feeling. I'm not gonna hold that stuff in. I know my dad has a tendency to just hold everything in. He comes home, doesn't say a word, goes to sleep, goes to work again. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, I want to be open with what I'm feeling. If I see something that, like, this is bothering me, I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna hold that stuff in.
Exactly.
Because we're never gonna, progress.
One day it's just gonna blow up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You bring up stuff that happened
So-
2 years ago.
You know, I feel like as a man, we do have to be vulnerable sometimes, but we also can't be crying all the time. You know,
Yeah.
we can't be babies and stuff like that. So I think there's just a certain line, a balance that we have to
Mhm,
have.
exactly.
Well, as a woman, I don't want to be crying all the time either. I don't want you to think that like I'm this little rag doll who gets thrown around, like has a fuss. I feel like it definitely goes both ways since women are perceived as the more emotional half of a couple.
Yeah.
That I think it's important for me to assert like my independence and my strength as a woman.
Hey, well,
Mhm. I mean, I guess
yeah.
yeah, and just to wrap it all up. So, do you guys think gender roles
Like
kinda-
are required to be like in a relationship.
yeah, would you see them as a required, or like we said, like
Something
no gender
equal,
roles,
yeah.
just basically two equals?
I think I'd see them as a requirement because I don't, back to the equality
Yeah.
versus equity thing. I want a man who treats me, in my mind, as right as being chivalrous.
Mm.
And, as a woman, I'm a natural caregiver. So I want to be able to take care of my man. And there are just certain ways that men and women can do that differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Taylor. I think that's a requirement. I think in a relationship, that counts as like guidelines or rules. And I think without rules or guidelines, it's not going to function. So there's just certain things that we have to do as a man or a woman in a relationship in order for it to work.
No, part of the romance is like being chivalrous.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, I guess, like the princess and then the prince or
Yeah.
whatever.
So
Like-
some things in a relationship will always be like that in a relationship. It'll always be like required.
It would be nice to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just improves the relationship. Well, but yeah, guys, I guess thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks for being here.
Yeah, it was a
Thank
nice
you for
talk.
having us.
Yeah.
It was nice. And as always, thank you for, if you want to know more about us, feel free to follow us on Patreon, go on social media, and thank you again for listening. And as we take one step further into infinity.